Good evening, sir.
Good evening. We'll be waiting for another 5 minutes, then we'll start.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Sir, namaskar.
hi, madam. Namaskar.
Sir, ଆମ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ ଭିତରେ ବି କ୍ଲାସ୍ ଚାଲିବ କି?
ହଁ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ସେ କହିଲେ ଅନଲାଇନ୍ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ହେଉଛି ତ ଆପଣ ତ ଯୋଉଠି ବି ଜଏନ୍ କରିପାରିବେ ଓକେ ତ ଆଉ ପଢ଼ିବାକୁ ବି
ଆଚ୍ଛା,
କିଛି ନାହିଁ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଚାଲିବ ଆଉ କହିଲେ ରିସିଡ୍ୟୁଲ୍ କଲେ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ବହୁତ ହଚ୍ ପଚ୍ ହେଇଯାଉଛି ତାଙ୍କର schedule।
ଓକେ ସାର୍।
ତ ହଉ ଠିକ୍ ଅଛି ବୋଲି ସେଇଟା
ସାର୍
କଥା
ଗୋଟେ
ଆପଣ କ୍ଲାସ୍କୁ ବି ଜଏନ୍
ସାର୍ ଗୋଟେ
କରିପାରିବେ
କାମ
ବୁଝିପାରିବେ।
କରିପାରିବା କି ବାଇଚାନ୍ସ ଯଦି ଜଏନ୍ ନ କରିପାରିଲି ଆଉ ମୁଁ ପାଠଟା ପଢ଼ିଦେଲି କିଛି ଡାଉଟ୍ ଆସିଲା ଟିକେ
ହଁ
ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ
ହଁ
ପଚାରିଦେବି।
ପଚାରିପାରିବେ ମୋତେ ଏନି ଟାଇମ୍ ଏନି ଟାଇମ୍
ଓକେ ସାର୍,
ନୋ
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ।
ଇସ୍ୟୁ। Our 4 minute wait kariya and then we'll start after 6:10. If anybody joins or not, it's up to them. Okay.
ଓକେ ସାର୍।
So let's start. So
Yes,
I
sir.
have been assigned, yeah, I have been assigned MEV-18. Okay. So before starting MEV-18, let me brief you what are the contents present in this MEV-18. Okay. So MEV-18, as every MEV subject, has four blocks. Okay. The block one is fundamental of environmental health and ecotoxicology. The second block is linking environment and human health, and block three is implication of environmental pollution on human health. Then block four is health risk monitoring, assessment, and management. Each day I'll be going through one block. Okay, and each block has four units. Okay, so accordingly, within 2 hours, I will be discussing all these four units from each block. No, block two has three units. Anyways, any block, each day I'll be actually discussing one block. Okay, so today we'll be starting with block one, fundamental of environmental health and ecotoxicology. Clear?
Yes, sir.
And the notes are I have downloaded from e-course, which you also have access with you, so that it will be better and easy for you to download the notes and everything. Or you don't have to depend it on me. After these notes, also, if you want any more help, you can ask. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So, so I'm sharing the screen. So is it visible
Yes, sir.
what I am sharing? Okay, fine. So this is the structure of the first unit. First we will go to introduction and objectives, concept and scopes of environmental health, regional and global perspectives, concept and requirements for a healthy environment, environmental quality, human exposure and human and health impacts, impact of environmental factors on human health. Okay, all these things. So first, we know our environment. Okay, it's very important for us. Okay, because we constantly interact with our environment. Okay, without environment, we cannot survive, so we are constantly being interacting with the environment. Okay, so obviously our health is also dependent on environment. So a good quality environment has a positive impact on human health. A very simple example I can give you: while we are traveling through a road, sometimes what we get exposed is we have some bad smell. We encounter some bad smell in the street. Okay, do we feel good there? There, do we feel good? It's a question to all. I'm just discussing. Do we feel good to have such smell in the street?
No, sir.
No, that's right. So same way, but when we go to a movie theater like PVR, INOX, okay, while going through that food counter, we get a very good smell of their food. Then we also feel good at that time. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So, so in this way, we are very much means we are always attached to the environment. So, if the health of the environment is good, then we also feel good. We have positive impact on our health. So, but when our environment is contaminated and polluted, then all life on the planet is also affected. The very best example is due to see nowadays we are you'll be seeing people are getting heart attacks, people are getting many types of stress. Okay, all due to this degraded environment because the food which we are eating, okay, it is contaminated. The air which we are breathing is contaminated. When everything is so much contaminated, then obviously it will hamper our health also. Okay, so for having a good health, we also need a good environment. Okay, because we are very much related to the environment in which we are living. Okay, So here it has given some examples also. For example, environmental pollution can cause allergies, toxicity, and even cancer. That I have already told. Okay. The exposure and disease are not the clear, but they are directly causal relationship in some cause, because we know like urban air pollution can cause respiratory disease, and heavy metals have been reported to cause neurological diseases. Then environmental factors causing health disorders have been given importance in policy decisions and development of planning activities. The best example of the harmful effect of air pollution is Delhi. In winters, Delhi becomes very difficult for people to live. Okay, so that is why your environmental health is very important for us. So the United Nations and the World Health Organization are together working to address the issue pertaining to the health and environment. This is seen in accumulating a number of conferences and declarations. Okay, so first is concept and scope of environmental health. So environmental health refers to the components of human health and the quality of environment. It also refers to the theory and practices of assessing, correcting, controlling, and preventing those factors in the environment that can potentially affect the health of and the present of the future generation. So anything, any factor which is potentially affecting the health and presence and future generation, we call them as a threat. Okay, to the human. WHO 1993, this is what the statement given by WHO, the World Health Organization. When environmental healthness to control disease and illness, it also aims to promote the well-being of humans by analyzing the source and hazardous agents in the environment. Environmental health services is defined as those services which implement environmental health policies through monitoring and controlling activities. That is again said by WHO in 1993. Okay, so health is now not only the responsibility of medical personnel, nursing and pharmaceutical staff, it is very individual responsibility of the government and NGOs to work together and bring about the required changes. So now we cannot say the health is only limited to the hospitals where the nurses, the doctors, or the medical personnel will take care of the health. But it is also up to the government to give a good environment so that people can be stay healthy. Okay. Then, so what is the definition of the health given by WHO? So the WHO defines of health is that it is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Okay, so you cannot say that I don't have a disease means I am healthy. No, it is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. So according to WHO, the conditions required for health not only includes the availability of resources to meet basic human needs and provide protection for all environmental hazards, but also require a sense of security and well-being. So, health doesn't means a condition for health. Health not only includes the availability of resources, means you have enough food, water. That doesn't mean you are healthy, but also provide protection for all environmental hazards. But you should also have protection from all environmental hazards, but also require a sense of security and well-being. If you have everything but still do not feel secure, then also you cannot be called as healthy. Okay. Environmental health are not separate entity. So if we will see, if we discuss things, then we cannot say hey, environmental health are separate entities. They are both one. Okay. If you are living in a healthy environment, then you are healthy. If you are not living in a healthy environment, then you are not healthy. Okay. So health and environment, they are interlinked with each other. So they include economic development must meet people needs, ecological sustainability must be achieved. So we need both economic development also. Okay, means we should have enough for it to live a comfortable life, and also ecological sustainability means we should not achieve these things at the cost of degrading the environment, which we are doing today. Okay, So combining both only we can say we are at a complete healthy frame of mind. Therefore, joint action is needed at the local, national, global level by individual and between government and non-government agencies. So these two things can only be achieved when when the action when the global level individuals and between government and non-government all join their forces. Only then we can achieve such things. Okay. So here it is a diagrammatic representation. You can see physical environment like soil and their chemical composition, air and water resource climates. Okay, biological environment, type and distribution of habitat, flora, fauna, including pathogens, reservoirs and vectors. They are interchangeable. They all mix and give the health. All human activities like agriculture, industry, energy production, use and management of water and waste, urbanization, distribution of income and assets, quality of health and public services, extent of protection of the living, working, and natural environment. So all these are interrelated. So human activities, okay, are interrelated to physical environment and biological environment, and these also are interrelated to the health of the human being. Then, so there are five basic disciplines in environmental health. They are environmental epidemiology, environmental toxicology, exposure science, environmental engineering, and environmental law. Okay. So first, under environmental epidemiology deals with the study of environmental exposure and human health. Means when we are exposed to what things, then what are the consequences that comes under environmental epidemiology. These include exposure to chemicals, radiation, biological agents, and so on. Then toxicology deals with the study of how environmental exposure can lead to some disease or health issues. Okay, this comes under environmental toxicology. Let me just adjust the zoom so that it will be easy for you to see. Now it is better, I think so. Then, as the name depicts, toxicology deals with the study of how environmental exposure can lead to some disease or health issues. Then, general toxicological experiments are carried out on animals in laboratory to understand possible health outcomes in the human beings. Animals are not only used for toxicological or human environmental toxicology; they are also used for testing of chemicals which we use, like the shampoo we use. They are tested on animals' eyes so that to find they are safe. Okay, so all these are done on animals. So such studies can help in also help in this assessment. Environmental engineering deals with the application of engineering, technology, and principles for the betterment of human health. Environmental laws deals with the networking of treaties, status, and regulations for curbing the effect of anthropogenic activity on the environment. Okay, these are environmental laws which are always there to protect our environment. Okay, so all the information obtained in the above mentioned discipline can be used for risk assessment studies and how specific chemical exposure can cause signal risks to our health. This can be used for the implementation of suitable laws and environmental health policies. Okay, so after knowing the effect of exposure to a certain chemical, they can be used for the implementation of suitable laws and environmental health policies. Okay, so that incident like Bhopal gas tragedy do not take place. You all must be knowing what is Bhopal gas tragedy. Am I right? So technologies for minimizing pollution impacts are also important for achieving the objective of environmental health policies. Okay, so we also should have technologies that will minimize our pollution. Like we know nowadays, electric vehicles are coming. Okay, the main reason behind this is to decrease the pollution controlled by pollution caused by vehicles, okay, which are powered by petrol. Then regional and global perspectives. So approximately half of the world's total population lives below the international defined poverty line. Out of this, nearly 22% of population in developing countries live on less than 1.25 US dollar per day. So poverty leads to a number of problems and to ill health. In 1900, pneumonia and influenza were the significant cause of death in the United States and other developed countries. In the 21st century, diseases of the heart and other chronic diseases were the leading cause of the death. So vaccines played an important role in reducing. So also important nutrition, good housing, providing of clean water and safe disposal of waste help to reduce communicable disease. So the environment is directly linked to health of an individual. So obviously, how clean we are, the cleaner we are, the better we are, because clean cities will lead to less diseases. Less diseases means less death of the people. Currently, environmental degradation is one of the major problems facing the world. It is caused due to population explosion, waste accumulation, pollution of air, water, and soil. We all know that we are actually achieving these things at a very high cost, which we are not counting now, with the future generation or in future which we are going to pay. Okay, the rapid industrialization, the rapid urbanization, okay, all these things are actually destroying our environment. Okay, which for which we have to pay a very heavy price. Okay, just a minute. Sorry for the interruption. So, industrial waste releasing large amount of toxic and substances which causes health impact. Then vehicular exhaustion, which I said before also. City is too high that the air quality is absolutely poor. Most of the polluted cities of the world are concentrated in developing countries, and the world's beacons are also polluted with waste, which affects not only the quality of the water but also marine life. Because we have also polluted our oceans. Okay, the world oceans it should be. It becomes a big case. It's a printing mistake. It is the world oceans. Okay, so the number of known chemical global exceeds 14 million, of which over 60,000 are commonly used. All of these ultimately end up in the environment. So environmental problems occurs at home, the workplace, the community level, and global. So all our environment problems are not only occurring outside; they are occurring at home, at workplace, and at community level also. Just as a minute. So all of these, even though these problems may be viewed separately, they are all global issues affecting both local and remote populations. Hence, air pollution causing due to slash and burn practices in Sumatra severely affects the health of residents of the Singapore and Malaysia. See, they are burning slashes in Sumatra, but it is affecting the health of Singapore and Malaysia. In the same way, the industrial pollution released in North United States causes acid rain, which adversely affects crops and people in the Midwestern United States and Southern Canada. So the population pollution of river upstream can adversely affect communities and countries downstream. Okay. So reports have shown that the children exposed to high level of both primary pollutants and phytochemical oxidants urban air in South California have diseased lungs function. So in many developing countries, especially in China and India, the level of pollution absorbed are considered high that seen in developed countries. So indoor pollution is a problem in developing countries where coal, charcoal is used for cooking in poorly ventilated house. Approximately 40% of the world population does not have access to clean drinking water. And almost 60% of the world population does not have adequate facility for water disposal. So these are the major problems which we are facing as a human. Even in developed countries, water pollution is a serious issue, as that of the Milwaukee in Wisconsin, and here Cryptosporidia contaminating the water and causing severe illness and death. It is a disease causing microbe. Okay, which causes waterborne disease. Presently, developed countries are paying developing country to accept their hazardous waste product. So nowadays, what these countries are doing, which are already developed, they are bringing their waste and they are dumping it in our countries. Okay, so that their countries remains clean. This is even more problematic as these developing countries have fewer sources to deal with the waste problem. See, obviously, a country which is not developing, it has less skills, it has less what you can say uh, technology. So it will be difficult for a developing country to handle this waste. But developed country, what they are doing, they are using these countries as dumping grounds. So environmental health issues are major regional and global issues. Then global burden of environmental related disease. So environmental factors on the burden of disease have been shown in approximately 21% of overall burden of disease globally. Most of the burden falls on the developing countries. Will help figure 1.2 will see to it. Okay. So about 28% of disease from diarrhea occurs in developing countries, and further 1.7 million children die from water contamination and diarrhea. Okay, this happens in developing countries. The next important health burden is acute respiratory disease, which is due to poor indoor air quality. Just a minute. So in this graph, we can see this is the graph showing the global burden of environment-related disease. Okay, so 28%, the maximum is due to diarrhea. We know diarrhea is a waterborne disease. It is caused due to poor water condition. Okay, when a person takes water from a from a source which is infected with diarrhea, okay, that person gets suffer from diarrhea. If it is not detected and taken care as earliest, then it will cause to the death. Okay, and this is maximum cause of the death due to environment related disease. First is diarrhea, and it's the most affected are your children's. Okay, next is acute respiratory, which is second most after diarrhea. Okay, so it is due to mainly air pollution. Okay, when a person who has some acute respiratory disorders get exposed to polluted air, then they have severe lungs related problems. Okay, and due to which there is a congestion of the lungs, which causes their death also. Next is injuries. Okay, we know that as I told before also, air quality is also very much important for the visibility. Okay, so in winters, as in Delhi, the smog due to which the visibility decreases, there are many accidents. These accidents also lead to the death of the persons. Then malaria and chronic respiratory diseases. Okay, these are also chronic means like asthma and everything. These are chronic disease. These also increase with the exposure to the air. Okay, and malaria, we know that it is a vector-borne disease, which is caused by malaria parasite. Okay, then cancer, obviously. Cancer, we know that many substances, aerosols and heavy metals, they are carcinogenic to us. So when we are constantly exposed to such substances, then it can cause cancer. Okay. Then mental health, obviously, if you are not ill, okay, when you are ill, okay, you will not be able to do your job properly. When you are not doing your job properly, you will lose your job. So once you lose your job, then you will get depressed, and that will affect your mental health. Okay, and cardiovascular disorder also. Okay, the food we eat, okay, many a times causes cardiovascular disorders, and all others also 3%. So this is how our environment causes so much destruction to our health and death to human beings. Okay. Then sustainable development, health and environment. So now we are always looking for a sustainable development, means development that comes not with a price, but developments where we coexist with nature, where we and nature coexist. Okay, it's not that we will degrade the nature and live. No, what we will do, we will coexist with nature. Okay, that is what is sustainability. Just a minute, I will drink a little water, then I will be continuing.
Okay, sir.
So next we will come to sustainable development. So nowadays we can see everywhere you see there is sustainable development because we all the global leaders have also realized. I don't know why Trump is not realizing it, but that if we are not developing sustainably, then our end is near. So we need to develop at what cost? The cost which in which we do not degrade our nature or we do not degrade our environment anymore. That is what is sustainable development. So the World Commission on Environmental Development defines sustainable development as meeting the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their needs. Means we should not degrade the environment so much that our future generation cannot live also. Okay, so that is why that's what we call it as sustainable development. So from time immemorial, humans beings have interacted with the environment, have been using the available natural resources. But presently, we are overutilizing the precious natural resources and we are facing the long-term consequences. So, what we are doing, we are facing these consequences because we are overusing these natural resources. So, we should use these natural resources only that much, how much we can, which is needed for us. We should not be greedy. So sustainable development addresses this imbalance and also addresses equity within the present generation. It has been observed that the poor are mostly exposed to environmental hazards. This also includes dangerous workplaces and inadequate access to safe food and water. Okay, so poor are always exposed. Okay, further, their houses are situated near industrial plants which are highly polluted, and the importance of these aspects have been highlighted in the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Okay, but now in US is only itself, US president is telling that these are all bogus things. So it is only recently that a declaration that this declaration has been translated into action to ensure these rights of the present and future generation. A number of international meetings have been held, such as the Earth Summit in Rio de Brazil in 1992, where an integrated approach to the environment, health, and sustainable development have been discussed. The first principle is that human beings are at the center of the concern for sustainable development. They are entitled to a healthy and productive life in harmony with nature. UNCED 1992. The Earth Summit recognizes that environment and human activities are often in conflict with each other. So the summit emphasizes nature should be respected and there should be a balance which has to be maintained between health and the environment. Okay, so we have to maintain a balance between health and environment. Then policy issues. So from above, we understand that environmental degradation can lead to health problems. Therefore, certain environmental policies, interventions are required, and the cost-benefit ratio for any such policy interventions will depend on the type of disease affecting the population and exact state of the environment. These factors can vary between countries and also within countries. So some of the most important environmental issues in relation to human health includes pollution and environmental degradation. The issue of air pollution and environmental quality calls for policies focusing on cleaner mechanism of transport. In the same way, policies interventions are also required for industries to reduce pollution impact and associated health disorders. So it is mandatory that wherever policies are formed to address environmental problem, human health should be kept in priority. Okay. So this is what your policies issues are. Okay. Then concept and requirements for healthy environment. Healthy environments lead to healthy individuals. We have understood that environmental health is important for our health. So a healthy environment encourages us to live in harmony with nature, then increase awareness of how our behavior impacts our environment. So this includes promoting green initiatives and measuring the importance of standing of living quality of the health. Therefore, maintaining a healthy environment is a center for our living health. So healthy environment is good for us. We should maintain a healthy environment. We should take precautions so that we the environment remains healthy, so that we can remain healthy. Okay, good outdoor and good indoor air quality. Okay, the first step in this is so poor air quality can lead to respiratory disorders and certain types of cancer. Accessing to clean air is extremely important. Presently, air pollution is a major threat to human health. Air pollution is known to cause about 2 million premature deaths globally each year. WHO 2008. Indoor air pollution is the eighth most important risk factor and responsible for 2.7% of the global burden of the disease. So sufficient efforts have been made to reduce unhealthy air emission, reducing air pollution by use of clean fuel, green transport, and reduced emission for industries are solution for clean environment. Then is clean water. We obviously know that the water quality should be good. Okay, then only we can be healthy. We should have clean water for drinking, and the water which is discharged from our waste should be properly maintained. Okay, because almost 1.8 million people die every year from cholera, diarrhea, and in these 90% of children that I have already told, under the age of 5 years, 5 years, mostly in developing countries. So which contaminated biological infection agents are or chemically such as dyes can cause disease and illness. Therefore, the protection of water from contamination from a fundamental aspects of environmental health. Then reducing toxics and hazardous waste. So the waste which are toxic and hazardous, okay, which is coming out from industries should be properly disposed of so that they do not cause any harm to the human beings. Then healthy residences and offices. Offices and residences should be built in a what you can say in such a way that they are healthy to work. There should be proper ventilation, okay, proper sanitation, no indoor air pollution, no chemical hazards, no biological hazards or physical hazards. All these hazards can impact human health and safety. So maintaining healthy homes, offices, and communities is essential to environmental health. Like nowadays, initiation like group green rooftops, okay, green gardens, then green walls are now being made. Then good surveillance. Preventing exposure to environmental hazards also depends on the government health department. Education and surveillance mechanisms are input and monitoring for disease associated hazards and educating the public. Some more methods are required to measure and address to the present environmental hazards for healthy environment. Okay. Then water quality is an important parameter. Contaminated give rise to various waterborne diseases and some can be very even fatal. So by improving water quality and sanitation, health issues can be managed effectively. Health and wellness are influenced by the places in which people live, learn, work, and play. So, communities, including homes, schools, public spaces, and work sites, can be transformed to support well being and make healthy choices easy and affordable. Healthy and safe community environment includes those with clean air and water, affordable and secure housing, sustainability, and economically vital neighborhoods. Then comes to environmental quality. So the quality of environmental literally means the quality of life. Environmental quality is a measure of the condition of an environment related to the requirement of one or more species or and or to any human need or purpose. Johnson et al. 1997 told this. So environmental quality includes natural environment as well as built environment such as air and water, purity or pollution, noise, and the potential effect which such characteristics may have on physical and mental health. So, balancing our future growth with the preservation and enhancement of our natural environment with an increased demand for water and land resources is important that when we address our future growth, we also look into consideration its environmental impact. Okay, so some of ways in which we can enhance our environmental quality includes protecting high quality natural areas and site with rare plant and animals. We can protect these areas. Protect watersheds, wetlands, and streams to reduce pollution runoff, soil erosion, and flooding. Providing clean, high quality water to meet the domestic, economic, and recreational needs of the community. Promote environmentally sensitive development that respects natural areas and enhance the quality of our building environment. Improve air quality. Creating a comprehensive and cost-effective solid waste management program that protects public health and the environment, promotes recycling, reduces the amount of solid waste, and successfully manages and reclaims landfills, etc. Enforce science-based and cost-effective environmental regulation. Increase community understanding of and sensitivity to the area, natural system, and related environmental issues. Okay, these are the things which we can do to enhance our environmental quality. Just a minute. Then, what is human? What are the human exposure and health impact? Okay, first is air pollution exposure and health effect. They can be caused due to natural phenomena and human activities. The most important source of air pollution includes inefficient mode of transport, vehicular exhaust, household fuel, and waste burning, coal-fired power plants, and industrial activities. WHO air quality model confirms that 92% of the world population live in places where air quality level exceeds WHO ambient air quality guidelines. So, for annually means of particular matter with a diameter of less than 2 micron, WHO guidelines limits for annual means of PM 2.5 are 10 G for meter Q annual means, and PM 2.5 include pollutions such as sulfate, nitrates, and black carbon, which go deep into the lungs and in cardiovascular system, causing very high risk to human health. So, a large part of the urban population is exposed to excess of ambient quality level of particular matter. So, PM, nitrous oxide, nitrogen dioxide, benzene, and ozone. Okay, all these are the pollution which are mainly get exposed in the urban area. Ozone and other phytochemicals. Oxidants are formed in the lower atmosphere by reaction of volatile organic compounds and nitrous oxide in the presence of sunlight. Ozone can be transported over long distance and cause air pollution. High concentration of ozone can release result in high incidence of respiratory disorders. Then radiation, exposure, and health effects. Radiation exposure and health effects. Radiation exposure can cause cancer, heart disease, and many other diseases. Radiation exposure can cause cancer, heart disease, and many other diseases. Then radiation exposure and health effects. Radiation exposure and health effects. Radiation can arise from different sources and it has sufficient energy to cause chemical changes in our cell and damage them even permanently. Some of the cells may die or become abnormal and cause have alternative states. So radiation, what it mainly does, these radiations are the energy waves which have high amount of energy. So when our cells get exposed to it, either they get killed or they get abnormal or they get mutated, due to which it causes cancer. Okay, then they can damage the genetic material and cause cancer, and high radiation exposure or acute exposure can suddenly health effects and even death within hours or days. Okay, if you are getting high exposure, then you can also die within days and even hours. Okay, then chemical exposure and health effect. These days we are exposed to a number of chemicals every day, and it can be in the product we use in all in food, water, the soil, and the air. We can also be exposed to different chemicals at our workplace. Many of them may not be harmful. However, some chemicals can affect health negatively. Many products make life more efficient, but we should know that the use of to use them properly and dispose them off in the required manner. Okay, so chemical also give rise to several health disorders. The factors that lead to chemical toxicity include the type, the quality of the chemical exposure, when and how long they are exposed, and also the route of exposure. Age of an individual and the general state of the individual, sensitivity to certain chemicals can also differ from person to person. Children, pregnant women, and seniors may be at high risk. There can also be long-term health effects from chemical exposure. Chemical toxicity can change damage to our cause damage to our organs. Okay, then weaken our immunity, bring about reproductive disorders, carcinogenicity, and so on. So, who have established guidelines values for more than 100 chemicals in drinking water? So, high concentration of nitrate in drinking water have serious health impacts. Nitrate can leach into groundwater from agricultural field because we use nitrate as a form of fertilizer. Nitrate can be reduced to nitrate. It can cause methanoglobulin, also known as blue baby syndrome in babies, because here what happens in methyl ammonia, your methane reacts with your hemoglobin, okay, due to which the color of the blood becomes blue. Then we call it as a blue baby syndrome. A report on the analysis of methamoglobin anemia in Romania between 1985 and showed that 2913 cases were recorded, and out of the 102 cases were fatal or they died. Then noise exposure and health effects. High level of, not noise, it is noise, can cause physical and physiological health disorders. High noise exposure in factories, industries can cause hearing losses, hypertension, heart disease, sleep disturbances, and annoyance. The most of the noise an individual is exposed to is important for the health effect to occur. So in some cases, long-term exposure to high noise level have caused changes in the immune system and also birth defects. Prebiosis or hearing loss normally occur with age, but high noise level exposure over a long period of time can lead to presbycusis. So noise exposure have also been known to cause tinnitus, ringing sound in the ear, vasoconstriction, and other cardiovascular adversity effect. Cloning noises exposures have also been associated with sleep disturbances and increased incidence of diabetes of high blood sugar level. Then exposure to pesticides and their impact. We all know that pesticides are substances which kill pests. Okay, and pest are the organisms which causes damage to our agricultural product. Okay, one of the most oldest name, if you know, DDT, dichloro orthodiphenyl trichloroorthoethane, DDT. Then insecticide which is used in active purpose. DDT was banned in 1972 in the United States of America, but certain countries still continue to use this chemical. We also use it. DDT persistence in the environment for a long time and also as annual tissue, also in annual tissue. It also bioaccumulates in the tissue. We are exposed to DDT from food, including meat, fish, and dairy products. DDT can be absorbed in the body by eating, breathing, or touching product contaminated with DDT. The boy, the body DDT is concentrated into several. So when exposed to DDT from food, including DDT can also product contaminated with DDT. So in the body, DDT is converted into several breakdown products called as metabolites, such as dichloro, diphenyl, dichloroethyl. Then DDT and DDE are stored in the body fat tissues. In pregnant women, they can be passes to the fetus. Both chemicals are found in breast milk, resulting in exposure to nourishing infant. So when humans are exposed to DDT at high dose, symptoms like vomiting, tremors, and seizures have been observed. Studies done on animals in the laboratories have shown DDT's effect on the liver and reproduction. DDT is also considered as a possible human carcinogen. So, impact of environmental factors on human health. Our environment is directly linked to disease causation. So, the environment impacts are presently a cause of serious concern. So, environmental mutagens and carcinogenic damage our cells, causing mutation and lead to cancer, where the cells growing in an uncontrolled manner. The scientific data shows that lymphoma, brain cancer, testicular cancer, prostate, and breast cancer have increased dramatically over the past few decades. And the environment burden of disease is comparatively very higher in the developing countries when compared to the developed countries. Again, in the developing countries, so in developing countries, the exposure to urban air pollution is affecting the health of a number of people. Climate changes, pollution exposure, and overcrowding. Pollution are increasing in the cities, and all this impact our health. So environmental factors can affect human health positively as well as negatively. So preventing medicine involves promoting positive environmental factors and sustained health. So the negative environmental factors are threat to human health and control them is known as public environmental health. Okay. The first is temperature and health. Temperature changes like cold and heat waves can impact human health. Studies have reported that unusual temperature fluctuation have resulted in cardiovascular, cerebrovascular, and respiratory arrangements. So this we are seeing nowadays very common. See today itself, it was too hot and totally sunny till 4 o'clock. Then all of a sudden it started raining. So these very sharp fluctuation in temperature can be harmful to us. Then sunlight and health. Sunlight is very important for synthesis of vitamin D in our body for healthy bones. So however, sunlight can also be hazardous to human health. The ultraviolet rays from the sun can cause. So ultraviolet rays from the sun can cause certain types of skin cancer and dermatitis. So UVB rays can cause rheumatoid, uh, rheumatoid arthritis in humans. Okay, so all these are due to sunlight. Then pH of drinking water. The pH of drinking water, whether acidic or alkaline, can affect human health in a number of ways because we know that our enzymes also act in our body at a particular pH. So change in pH of the water can lead to a change in the activity. So whether the water is acidic, it can corrode metal formed lines. Okay, this can leach heavy metals into lead, copper, zinc, magnesium, and iron. High level of heavy metal in drinking water, such as lead, can cause kidney disorders. Okay, this is why pH of water is also helpful. Then humidity and health. Humidity level in the indoor and outdoor environment can affect human health. Humid environment are highly conductive for the growth of microorganisms, mold, dust mites, and mildew. This can cause allergies, respiratory problems, asthma, and breathing difficulties. Low humidity levels can cause dry eyes, congestion, viral flu, and scaly lips. So, with the humidity, these things increases, so the risk of infection also increases. So, very high humidity is not good for us. Low humidity level can cause dry eyes, congestion, viral flu, and scaly skin. So, low humidity is also not. We need what is ambient humidity. Okay, ambient humidity. Then biotic environment factors and health. Biotic factors like plant and animal cause infection, zoonotic and fungal disease in human being. Fungus, virus, and bacteria are biological agents that cause a number of infectious diseases. That we all know very well. Then physical health factors can arise from natural events such as flood, disease such as communicable diseases, chest infection, cough and cold can also occur. Drought and desertification can also affect human health directly or indirectly. Other extreme weather events can lead to physiological disorders, disease or death. Other extreme weather events can lead to physiological disorders, disease or death, indirectly causing an increase in mortality. Therefore, environmental factors can also affect human health. vulnerable and exposed barrier between different groups and area. So the elderly people and children are particular at that high risk. Okay, because their immune power is less. So that ends our first unit. Now we'll come to the second unit. You can go through this question and answer to check your progress also. Okay. Next is introduction to environmental health. We know that we are exposed to different substances every day throughout the air, water, soil, and some of them may even toxic effects. So environment pollution and increasing introducing in the environment due to human activity. Such pollutants can exert various effects on the different organs in our system. Okay, that we all know, like your DDT, it may be, or it may be some chemical substances in the air. Okay, anything it may be. So what we will read here, ecotoxicology, explain different concept and terminologies. In ecotoxicology, different various biodegradable and non-biodegradable substances. Okay. First, we will go through the definition. Ecotoxicology, this is a sub-discipline of environmental toxicology. This deals with the harmful effect of toxicants at ecosystem and population level. Toxicologists are scientists who deals with the study of toxicants, toxins. Toxicants, substances that are toxic are termed toxicants. They can be hazardous and poisonous to environment and human health. Then toxins, these are the products naturally by produced naturally by living organisms. For example, alpha-toxins or ocalkines. Then genobiotics, derived from the Greek word geno, meaning foreign, these are foreign substances entering our system. And terrestrial toxicology refers to exposure toxicity compound and their effect in terrestrial ecosystem. Then terrestrial toxicity refers to exposure of toxic compounds and their effect in terrestrial ecosystem. Then aquatic toxicology involves the study of effect of toxic chemicals on organisms in the aquatic environment. Then thermodynamics is the study of release of toxic chemicals in the environment and its distribution, degradation pattern and fate in the environment. So historically, the science of toxicology dates back to a very early period when humans used toxic plants and animal extract in hunting and warfare. Okay, when we did not know agriculture, we used to live a nomad life where we hunt things, eat them, and go on. At that time, humans were using toxics. So it is a very old concept we have about toxics, okay, toxicants, which we use for hunting and warfare. During war, also used. There are mentions of poisons and toxic substances by Hippocrates. Aristotle and Theophanestus were back in 400 BC said this. Scriptures and records indicate that by 1500 BC, hemlock, opium, iron poison, and certain metals were also used to poison enemies or for state execution. Some of the notable poisoning victims include Socrates, Cleopatra, and Chavdas. These are the very famous persons who were poisoned to death. The basic notable poisoning victim in the basic concept in toxicology involves after necessary age of enlightenment, the study of paraglass and oriflares of utmost importance in the field of toxicology. Paraglass reported that a dose of a chemical is important factor for the human body response. See, when we buy medicine, the medicine comes under two, three types of what? 2, 3 types of power like 5 mg, 10 mg, 15 mg. Okay, all these are due to according to your body health. If it is a child who is eating it, he will eat 5 mg. If it is a teenage, then he will go for 15 mg. Okay, so in this way, your dose of a toxin also depends on the body's response and the amount it has been ingested. This is now known as a dose response relationship. It is important concept in toxicology because Pasek is considered as one of the founder model of the modern toxicology. Paracelsus. He well known quote saying that all substances are poisonous. It is all substances are poisonous. It is the dose that makes the poison. Okay. So everything is poisonous. Okay. It is a dose that causes it will be poison or not. There are many medicines that we use which are safe at recommended dose but is toxic at higher dose. Okay. Orfila is a Spanish physician who worked at the University of Paris. In the early 19th century, brought out the systematic correlation between the chemical and biological properties of poison and showed the effect of poison on specific organs. He identified the science as a discipline. Later on in the 20th century, advances in genetics and molecular biology paved the way for further toxicological research and understanding. Then True Hunt in 1969 on the term ecotoxicology. So it originated means toxicology of the environment. We call it as ecotoxicology. Originated from towards ecology and toxicology. Okay. So after industrial revolution, so many pollutant and chemicals have been released, and this has polluted environment. The subject ecotoxicology has focused on these concern of contaminants in our ecosystem, distribution and fate of these contaminants and the affected environment. So plants, animals and human beings are exposed to different toxic substances. Such harmful toxins can affect individual species at community level and bring about a reduction in the species diversity and abundance. They bring about changes in the population dynamics affecting the ecosystem and reducing the producibility and stability. Then toxic effects on ecosystem. Natural climate allows ecosystem to adapt naturally through time and enable them to resist to change and they can recover from the same. On the other hand, toxic substances can threaten the stability of ecosystem, result in serious consequences and irreversible changes. These changes include decline of forest, acid rainfall, pollution, loss of fish, production in the in predator population due to the effect of SIDDT, loss in species diversity and so on. Therefore, toxic can cause loss of aesthetics, functional, commercial value of the ecosystem. Then toxic effects on community. Pollutant and toxic can affect community. For example, toxic substances can eliminate the species or promote the growth of undesirable species. Okay, this is also termed is the effect of toxic in community. Biological factors affecting toxicity. First is age. For example, some toxic can exert. So this is because they are reduced toxic and ability, impaired renal excretion function, decreased blood flow, and less amount of total plasma protein. That is why old age people are more affected by toxins. People with disease history of liver, hepatitis, or tumor cannot biotransform the toxic substances in the same way. Those who have kidney failure also have kidney failure or disease can be and also infants, newborns and child below the age of 10 are also susceptible. Then diet. People who are malnourished and are compromised in diet cannot biotransfer toxicants due to the reduced enzyme activity, that is cytochrome activity. In Africa, several people especially suffer from. Then sex viability. They have been observed and male react metabolic and toxic substances more easily than female in the laboratories or the research. Then it may be similar in human beings too. Females may be susceptible to toxic agents more easily than males, as this may be due to the activity of testosterone hormone. Okay. Then types of toxic substance. First is degradable substances. The first is kitchen waste, which we all know kitchen waste. They are fruit peel or vegetable or boiled grains, excess coffees and tea sediments, bones from fishes, meat, chicken, biscuits, breads are all degradable and can be easily constructed 2 feet to 2 feet in our home, backward and compost our kitchen waste. Within a week or so, we can obtain good quality manure that can be used for our plantation. Kitchen waste. Then paper, all types of paper, cardboard, cartoon, chalkboard, tissues, papers, towels are all biodegradable and can be degraded by soil also. In clothes also, we should do the same. Here, agricultural waste. Okay, so waste which is coming from agricultural sector, like your straw, when it comes to your paddy, like that. They can also be put into feed and laid for the microorganisms to digest and convert them into what? Then garden waste, leaf litters, twigs, branches, hedges, trimming and grass cuttings, flowers, fruit, all are degradable. Then comes non-biodegradable layers. First comes the heavy metal. It cannot be degraded. They persist in nature and causes many health problems. Under heavy metal comes arsenic. Region in West Bengal have groundwater contaminated high level of arsenic and is causing arsenosis. Okay. Then cadmium, it enters the food chain. Industrial activity, it can accumulate the tissue of aquatic organisms. That's what cadmium does. Then chromium is used in fertilizer. The product of paints, electroplating is also enter our body. Then lead, it is same way. And the same way lead is another heavy metal of concern. It can contaminate water from lead pipes, lead solders, then lead gasoline and lead containing paint and so on. Mercury is highly toxic. It is used to plastic manufacturing industries in the manufacture of vinyl chloride and is reported to cause neurotoxicity. Then come petroleum and oil pollution. Petroleum are hydrocarbons containing compounds and are not degradable. So oil pollution, oil spoilage occurs in marine ecosystem. Then petroleum products also causes pollution to our environment. Okay, when there is leakage, the sea animals are adversely affected, like seagull, turtle, mussels, etc. Okay, then volatile organic compound VOC, they include halogenated solvents and petroleum products. They are used in several industries such as paint, painting pigment. They are also a problem to us. Then various solvents like benzene, okay, uh, affects nervous system and blood. Benzene is used in rubber, canning, painting, shoes, manufacturing in industry. Benzene affects the heteropoietic tissue in the bone, marrow, and its importance and immunosuppressants. Okay. And pesticide I have already discussed. Pesticides how harmful they are. Plastic we don't need to discuss. We know how they are not biodegradable and they are very harmful to us. And nowadays we cannot believe a life without plastic. Then radioactive metals also I have already told. Dioxins, these are toxic chemicals compound that cause disruption in hormone, reproduction system and immune system and also cause development disorder. They are called as carcinogenic. They are positive organic pollutant. Then polyaromatic hydrocarbons, incomplete burning of coal, oil and gases, waste garbage, tobacco, volcanoes, forest fire, automobile exhaust, etc. result in the forming of pH. They are also found in input and many foods like vegetable oil, fish, meat, beverage, smoke, grilled fish and meats. So pH are normally found in a mixture containing two or more of these compounds do not dissolve easily in water and stick to the solid particle and settle down at the bottom of banks of the river. In the soil, pH sticks tightly to particulate and communicate particles and contaminate groundwater. Then influence of ecological factors on toxicity. Biotic factors, first is microorganism. Microorganism can carry out methylation process in the metabolism and have the ability to convert less toxic chemical into toxic form. And they also do the latter things also. The toxic form can later be bioaccumulated in bodies of fishes, birds and higher organisms in food chain and be lethal. And a classic example is Minamata disease and is illustrated in the case study. Okay, that you can read through was caused by due to mercury poisoning. Okay, in the Minamata Bay of Kausha, Japan, mercury chloride was used as a catalyst in the production of plastic. The byproduct in the mercury was dumped into the bay. Between 1950 and 1960, scientists discovered that the fish in the bay were lethargic and some were dead. The researchers explained that inorganic mercury had been converted to organic methyl mercury by the methylation process of the anaerobic microorganisms. Okay. Plants can secrete toxins through the root and that is fully phytoremediation of toxic soils. Plants can completely remove, transfer, stabilize toxic compounds in the soil and compound the soil and groundwater. Then, so mustard, hemp, pigeon, pigweed, alpines, peat, these trees can be used for phytoremediation and used in the restoration of abundant metal mine site where PCBs were dumped. Many plants can accumulate toxicants. They include sunflower, accumulates arsenic, willow, cadmium, alpine, zinc, and cadmium. Indian mustard, lead. Also, salt tolerance plant can reduce sodium hydroxide. So plant can help in the phytostability of toxic compounds. In insects, butterflies can detect toxic compounds and sequester toxicants from their host plant. Example include sequestering of pyrrolidal alkaloids by the butterfly Ida leuconia. They accumulate the toxin in their body tissue in all their life stages. Then abiotic factors, those are the surface temperature. Chromium is found in the environment basically in two valent state. They include the trivalent chromium, which is less toxic, and hexavalent chromium, which is highly toxic. So it is reported that high temperature can result in the oxidation of trivalent chromium to hexavalent. So now hexavalent chromium is most dangerous state and it causes serious health disorders. So temperature can increase the toxicity. Okay. Then color of the substances. This is observed that several invertebrates prefers the white color substance, which many toxicants that they settle on the seafloor in the salty water. Therefore, bioaccumulation is influenced by the environmental persistence. Okay. pH and alkalinity are also important factors that influence toxicity in the living organism. pH and alkalinity also are important factors influence toxicity in living organism. In aquatic ecosystem, mainly pH plays a very important role. Okay, feces are vulnerable to permeability in gill epithelium, and this results in the loss of electrolyte. The presence of hydrogen in water affects the chemical speciation of the certain toxicants. Okay, and salinity also have conditions such as estuaries, viability, and toxicity affect. For example, trace elements increase in lesser saline solution, and organophosphates compound increase with salinity. Also, in freshwater ecosystem, high salinity affects the cadmium viability, and toxic cadmium is made available for absorption by organisms. The toxic effect of metal such as zinc, mercury, copper, chromium, nickel, cadmium increases with increasing salinity. Then hardness also is related to pH and alkaline condition. Hardness affects the toxicity of organic substances. Dissolved organic carbon can also influence okay, level of copper toxicity in fresh water. Then we will go to unit 3 toxicants in the environment. So we already know what is toxic or what are toxins. I don't know. Toxic substances are on air called as toxicants. So ecotoxicants are the chemicals that pollute the environment. Small doses of ecotoxicants can be destructive to all living beings. So the route of exposure of these toxicants can be through air and water or on the ground. Okay, types and source of toxicants. So you can say the toxicants are two types, artificial and natural. Natural toxicants are most commonly found in plant and these are stored in plant tissue. Toxicants are most spreadly through plant to animals. Environmental inappropriate human activities are responsible to create human activities artificial toxicants. Pure biological toxicants are crude oil, natural deposits were found in many meters underground. But these biofuel toxics Then mode of action of toxicants. The chemical property toxins have an effect on organism. These effects occur when the toxicants, after being taken up to the roots or leaves in the plants, they are also transferred in animal, the skin, digester, and the spirit. So, accordingly, the mode of the action of the toxicant varies, where in which way it is entering your body and which part it is affecting. Factors affecting the consumer toxicant at the target site is the main factor to define its effect. That we have already discussed. That the factors which affect is the quantity. Okay. So here we can see with when there is a decrease in micronutrient. Okay, LD50 is the concentration at which there is 50% depth. Okay, so you can see when the toxicant level is increasing up to 50%, here 50% of the individual dies. Okay, then it becomes as the 100%. Okay, then your what you can say, uh, with the increase in toxicant concentration, your death increases. Then biochemical aspects of such toxicants. First is arsenic. Arsenic is one of the most abundant element in the earth crust and also found as a trace element in all human tissue. The existence of arsenic in the three following oxidation states: metalloid, trivalent, and pentavalent. The use of arsenic is as pesticide, fungicide, cotton desiccants, and wood preservative. Manufacturing of glass in agriculture, production of semiconductors, and so on. Arsenic is a highly material in a seafood, approx several hundreds of microgram per gram. Is found in arsenobetadine and in most seafood species. Toxicity. Acute or chronic exposure of arsenic affects almost all organs. The most affected organ in the body by arsenic is the liver. The early symptoms of arsenic poisoning are headache, dizziness, insomnia, weakness, nightmare, and number in the extremities. Anemia, palpatonias, and fatigue. Many free radicals are generated during arsenic metabolism in cell. Biochemical cadmium. Cadmium is found in our crust and our layer element. It is controlled much less than that of either mercury or lead. It also found as immature stress. So it is found as minute traces in seawater in many organisms like mollusca and crosscutter. It is accumulated to seawater in vegetable cereals also. Toxicity. The kidney is a critical target organ following long-term exposure to cadmium. High intake of cadmium lead to disturbances in calcium metabolism, has effect on bones and result in the acute pulmonary edema. Okay. Cadmium is also carcinogenic to human. Okay, high intake of cadmium. This compound lead to genetic and related effect in the including chromosomal damages. Okay. Then lead. Lead is mainly found in earth crust and it is found in mainly batteries which we use. Before lithium ion battery, lead is the main part in batteries. So contaminated food, water, fuels, mining, smelting, refining, use of leaded petrol, manufacture of ceramic, plumbing, jewelry making, soldering, and electronic waste. Due to its color, vibration, and vibrance, and ability to hold pigment as well, lead is used in the paint industry. The main physical and chemical properties of lead for using in paint industries are Help paint stand up well to outside weather elements, impart a high degree of corrosion resistance, reduce drying time. Main environment occurring due to natural activity are volcanic activity, geochemical weather, and then lead toxicity. Children, especially infants and young children, are more potentially affected by lead exposure than adults following other reasons. It is dangerous situation because the per unit lead intake is higher as per body weight. Ingestion of more dust in children, high lead absorption in gastrointestinal tract. Okay, it is dangerous situation if the level of lead in the blood increases more than 5 microgram per deciliter, as it affects young children in developing the nervous system, which which affects the intelligent quotient IQ of the person. Then and lead can cause miscarriage, stillbirth, premature birth, and low birth weight in the babies. Then mercury on earth crust, which is naturally occurring element, is also found in air, water, and soil. Okay. Mercury is also contained in batteries, measuring devices, electronic switches, then lamps and dental amalgams. Toxicity of mercury. The toxicity observed by the element and methyl mercury. These elements and elemental and methyl mercury mainly affects the central and peripheral nervous system. Following are the effect. First is the effect on nervous system, digestion and immune system. Lungs and kidney may be fatal. Ingestion of inorganics or the mercury may induce toxicity in kidney. Many different mercury compounds can have numerical problems. This is how mercury amount it has seen how it increase in the food chain, which we call it as biomagnification also. See, this is the krill which these small fishes ate it. Okay, from these the big fishes eat many of them. From these, then it comes to the humans. Okay, so those who are in lower higher tropic level, okay, they are more affected by these biomagnification. Okay, means the producers are not affected, but the secondary, tertiary, or quaternary consumers are affected by this process. Then carbon monoxide, more commonly widely distributed air pollutant, carbon monoxide. Okay, it is colorless, poorly soluble in water, slightly lower density than air. Okay, various industrial processes like power plant using coal and waste incineration. It comes petroleum derived emissions have greatly increased during the past. So some widespread natural non-biological biological processes such as plants, ocean oxidation, these are the causes for carbon monoxide. Then toxicity, persistence in period of carbon is about a month, which can be transferred long distance. It is not uniform and remains in the body for long time. Half-life of air is about 5 hours. Increasing level of carbon reduces the amount of oxygen carrying capacity hemoglobin because carbon monoxide reacts with hemoglobin to form carboxyhemoglobin, which is a permanent product due to which it doesn't break down and no more carries oxygen, due to which there is suffocation and finally death. Then ozone, combining of two, three oxygen leads to the production of ozone, which is a highly reactive gas and it is toxic, oxidative, unstable gas with pungent odor. Ozone has a greater oxidation potential than oxygen. Okay, and our surface, 90% of the atmosphere ozone can be found, which is called as ozone layer or good ozone. The ozone layer is partially destroyed by man-made chemicals, which is called as hole in the ozone near the ground level, that is troposphere, where there is only 10% of the total ozone present ground level. Ozone is created through the interaction of man-made and natural emissions, and ground level ozone is not emitted directly into the atmosphere. High concentration ozone creates a layer or ozone layer and the atmosphere. Then ozone lethal. Ozone can affect harmfully both vegetation and human life near ground level. Strong due to other molecule, large concentration ozone near the ground provides toxicity, toxicity to living organisms. Okay. Ground level have a deterrent effect on plants and ecosystem. They affect include changes in water and nutrient cycle, damaging leaves of the tree, changing in habitat quality, and making plant more vulnerable to certain diseases. Hmm. Over those, these are done. Then toxicity of pesticides. Obviously, these are the substances which are used to kill pests, and they are also dangerous to us. Okay, they are carcinogen mutagens. Okay, that's why we say cause adverse effect like acute poisoning or long-term human health effect. Okay, then ovicides used against eggs, larvicides. There are different classes of vaccinal larvae used to kill larvae. So consumers use insecticide agriculture medicine industry, and they are classified into systemic insecticide, which has residual or long-term activity, and contact insecticide, which have no residual activity. So these are knowledge you should have before applying insecticide, means it is of which type and what it will be affected. Okay, so that it doesn't cause spoiling toxicity. Insecticide may harm or kill other animals or creatures when they are applied for those insects which are harmful. For example, birds may poison when they eat food that are recently sprayed with insecticide, or they can be confused insecticide granules on the and ground and eat as a food. Okay. Biochemical aspect of methyl isocyanide MIC. Methyl is the organic compound. It is known as the isocyanide methane. Methyl isocyanide MIC. The volatile colorless poisonous with strong sharp odor. Lacra metal or tearing agent, flammable, reactive chemical, and fire and explosive hazard. It is also known as dot poison. Inhalation hazard in PIH. So MIC is involved in a fire. It can release hydrogen cyanide, methyl isocyanate, has also been used in the production of pesticide, polyurethane foams, and plastics. Toxicity is extremely hazardous to human health due to its high toxicity, irritation nature, and mechanism. MIC was suspected in early years and this causes hypoxia. Is responsible for carboamylation of hemoglobin. Carbamylation means same as carbon monoxide. Okay, and which would interfere with the oxygen binding capacity. Then, however, recent studies have actually showed that when rats and guinea pigs are exposed to methyl isocyanate concentration above the exceed 2% hemoglobin molecules were carbamized, which is suggested that it is likely not the mechanism of toxicity following as the main hazard of MIC. MIC can be handled extremely caution in cause mutation. Contact with irritation skin and eyes may be cause permanent eye damage. Breathing of MIC may irritate lungs, causing coughing. And higher exposure may cause pulmonary edema. In many cases, asthma like allergy and may cause the chance of asthma attack in future. Then peroxyacetyl nitrate or PAN. PAN is an unstable, highly oxygenated compound, but it is more stable than ozone and exists only in the atmosphere. The main source of PAN is motor vehicles, tobacco smoke, and burning of fossil fuel. It is also known as acyl peroxynitrate or APAN. It is a compound of photochemical smoke which is formed by the oxidation of volatile organic compounds. So when combined with nitrogen dioxide, it is to compound with night. The main contributor of the formation of air pollution ozone, and it can remain in the atmosphere about 3 months after formation under cold conditions. However, in warmer areas, fan persists only for a few hours. Fan can impact the other regions where they transport in large distances by the wind. In plants, spotting and discoloration of leaves. Then destruction of flower. It is cessation, it is mostly destruction. Reduction in fruit production, death of the plant. Human reduces respiratory function. Red, itchy, runny eyes, long-term exposure may cause cardiac and respiratory conditions. Occurs in urban centers. Okay, with where automobiles and industry emissions are high. Carcinogens in the air. These we have already discussed. Particles about. So today, let us stop here. Next class, I'll start with this and continue the other block also.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure, sir.
Huh. Okay, sir.
Dispersion of toxic substances, we will start tomorrow. Okay.
Yes,
Then I will go to the other block also. Okay. Okay, any
Sir.
doubts till now which I have taught, you can ask me.
No, sir. Here there is no doubt. But
Okay.
may I ask you question, sir?
Yes, yes, you can ask.
Sir, what is the reason behind swelling of feet and legs?
See, the reason behind swelling of feet and leg are many. There are many reasons. It is mainly due to the accumulation of lymph. Okay, lymph accumulation can be many causes can be there for the accumulation of lymph. Sometimes the lymph nodes are getting blocked. Then also there will be swelling. Okay, sometimes you may be having some allergic reaction. Okay, due to which there is overprotection of the lymph. That can also be a cause. Or sometimes maybe there is an injury in your leg. Okay, so where there is swelling, it is difficult to tell without knowing all the symptoms.
Sir, if
Okay, because it is a
creatinine level
normal.
is
Yeah, then
yes,
also yes, where if creatine level is high, then also there is swelling because lymph is produced as the immune response. Okay,
sir, if it
so
is
you
above 1.5, is there any risk?
that I don't know. It is because you are going to two medical terms that I may not be knowing. Okay, but
Actually, sir, I
actually
am
lymph.
suffering from this and I want to know.
Then please, actually you should be consulting a doctor first. It's better you to consult a doctor because lymph is actually a precautionary measure of immune system. Okay, which the immune system produces to combat any disease or any problem. Okay, so if it is overproducing, there may be some problem with the body immune system, or it is reacting to something. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so
Sir, one more thing. Will you send the notes?
no, no, these
Mm,
notes you can download from e-course of IGNU. Otherwise, I can send it also. I have downloaded this PDF. I can share it.
yes, sir. Better if you send it in a group.
Okay, okay. You have added me to that group. I'll send there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, I have added
Okay,
you. Sir,
okay. Thank you.
namaskar, sir.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Namaste. Any more doubts?
sir, excuse me, sir. Genetic
Yes.
diseases in human beings. Uh,
Yes.
what is that? Genetic disease, genetic and genetics.
Genetic. See, genetic disease means disease caused by a zoological means any organisms. When it is a organism which is causing disease, we call it as zoonotic disease.
Means
Okay, means there are many diseases which are caused due to particles. Okay, those are not zoonotic disease. Okay,
okay,
if the disease is caused due to an animal, we call it as zoonotic disease.
means
Like microbes,
trans-
microbial disease.
okay, okay. Transfer
Yes,
that disease from any animal to human beings.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay,
Then those are called as zoonotic disease.
okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. If no questions, you can ask tomorrow also. If after going through the text you have any doubts, you can ask me tomorrow also. Tomorrow we'll be starting with from here only. Okay. Thank you all for your patience.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. See you all tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Okay, sir.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Namaskar.
매주 너 거친다 문도 받아 가. 이거